Hi and welcome to Todex. Today in the Todex e-commerce platform, I'll be showing you how we have changed the platform's integration to the Google Analytics service in the 17.0 release to now support Google Analytics 4 service. If you didn't already know, the Todex platform supports businesses hosting content-managed websites for integrated online ordering and e-commerce workflows, and anytime a user on a hosted content-managed website raises and submits an order through the order checkout submission area, there is the ability to have the order data also be submitted to the Google Analytics service that may provide additional insights, reporting, and trends using the sales order data. Previously in the Todex e-commerce platform's 15.01 release, we added support for Google Analytics Universal Analytics Name Service, as well as using Google's Tag Manager service to push order data from a website into a Google Analytics account. Google has now dropped support for its Universal Analytics service and instead has replaced it with the Google Analytics 4 name service. As such, the Todex e-commerce platform has now been also updated to only support the Google Analytics 4 service. So to handle this change by Google, there's a few things that need to happen. First, your business needs to have signed up to a Google account. Then use that Google account to sign up the Google Analytics service, as well as the Google Tag Manager service. The previous 15.1 platform release video explains how to do this, as well as how to provide further background on how all these accounts interlinked, and that video has been linked to this video's description if you want to check that out first. If you already had a Google Analytics account set up that was using the Universal Analytics service, then Google will have already migrated over your account to the Analytics 4 service. Google has also provided a setup assistant to help that migration process that will appear once you log into Google Analytics. Once both the Google Analytics account and the Tag Manager accounts have been set up, the following needs to occur to allow Google Tag Manager to support connecting a Todex hosted content managed website, its ordering areas to the Google Analytics account. First, within the Google Analytics account, if we go into the admin section, for a given property where we are recording our analytics against, we need to go into the data streams. A data stream needs to be created if one doesn't already exist by clicking on the Add Stream button. You'd click that button, click the web option, and then you'd set the URL of your website that will be used for that stream. So you can have multiple streams per Google Analytics account, and each of those streams will be feeding in the data to be able to do the analytics on. Once your stream has been created, if you go into the details of the stream, it will then show the details of the stream, and the important one that we need to copy here is the measurement ID. So if you select that and copy that, then next we need to go into our Google Tag Manager account. Within your Google Tag Manager, you will set up a container, but if you haven't already created a container, you would also create a container for that website where you're going to capture the data from, just like in this example here. And then we can go and view that container. So within this container, if we go into tags, so we need to set up 2 new tags in order to be able to connect up Google Tag Manager with the Google Analytics 4 based account. So we could create the new button. We'll give this tag a name, so it's probably best to call it the same name as where the data, our ordering data is coming from the website. But you can call your Google tags anything you want. Now we want to put in here the pipe character and then the GA4 configuration. So this first tag we're setting up, this is going to directly link that data stream that we had in the Google Analytics account up to this tag. So if we then click on the tag configuration, we need to choose the Google Analytics GA4 configuration tag type. Within here, we now need to paste in the measurement ID of the data stream that came from our Google Analytics account. So we'll put in our measurement ID. So next we need then to add a trigger which will trigger the data to flow through to the Google Analytics account. So we'll click on the triggering button. And let's just choose the all pages trigger that already exists from the list here. So now we click the save to save that tag. So that now gets added to our list of tags. Now the next tag that we need to do is the one is going to actually trigger the sale event and the ordering data to flow through Google Analytics. So we click on the new button again to create a new tag. This time I'm going to give the tag name just the word sale, since note it's going to be when a new sale happens. So this time we click on the tag configuration, and this time we need to choose the Google Analytics GA4 event. Now, because we've already previously created our configuration tag, we're linking this tag to the tag that has the link back to the Google Analytics account through its data stream. So we choose that tag. Right, next in the event name field, we want to put in the name of the event that will then cause Google Analytics to be able to handle and push across this data. We need to put in a placeholder that will mean whatever the event is defined back in the Totex platform for the order, that's the name of the event that's going to carry through to Google Tag Manager and onto Analytics. So if we use these double curly brackets and the word event, that will put in a placeholder. Then it will allow this ordering event to be picked up correctly. So with that done, if we then expand the more settings option, we need to also tick the send e-commerce data. That will allow all the ordering data, including the products, the pricing, to be handled, reports to be collated with. And we just need to set the data source to data layer. So with that all done, we now need to go into the triggering section. So if we click on that, so we need to create a trigger for allowing the Google Tag Manager to know when it needs to send it across to Google Analytics. So we'll create a new trigger. So I'll call this trigger a sales event, but you can call it whatever you like. Now we give it a configuration. And within the trigger type, we need to find the custom event. So if we select that, now the event name here needs to precisely match the type of events from the Google Tag Manager and Analytics perspective, where it knows when a purchase or a sale is happening. So Google calls these events a purchase events because it's thinking from the end user's perspective who are doing the buying or the purchasing. But these are really sales events from a business's perspective that's receiving the orders. So we need to put in the word purchase. Now there are many other types of events that could be handled by this trigger. In this simple case, we're only going to look at the purchases, but you can look into the Google documentation about all the different events if you wanted to do that. So now for our tag that is recording these sales transactions, we have our trigger set, we have our tag configuration set. Now we can click the save button. That tag is now added to our list of tags. And the last thing to do is we need to look at our changes, make sure they're happy with them, and when we are, we can preview and test them if we like to, but then we can submit those changes and then get them applied to Google Tag Manager to allow our orders to then start getting received. But the last thing we need to do is get the ID of the Google tag itself, copy that across, then back in the Totex e-commerce platform, log into our project, and then within the administration center, go into the websites menu under the websites menu item. If we then go down and find the content manager web pages that are storing our order checkout submission areas, and that can be both for guests and logged in users. So we have a page here called checkout. We view the all areas, right clicking and going into view all areas. So for any order checkout submission areas, we can then go and click on that to view the area setting details. This is when we need to paste in the ID of our Google Tag Manager, and we need to put in the event name that we are then using to send these events through. And so then we would put in the word purchase, since that correlates with the event within Google Tag Manager. And then we've got these two settings. So the first one needs to be set to yes in order to allow the order to be sent to Google Tag Manager once an order has been submitted from this area. And then we've got an option if we want to pass Google the product information as well. So it's product name, product code, the discounts applied to a product, any pricing that is set there, as well as quantities. That's optional. You don't need to pass it to Google if you don't want it. If you only want Google to report the overall pricing on the order data, then you would set that to no. Otherwise, you can set it to yes and click the save. And so if there's other areas in the Content Manager website that are used for order submission, so it may not be just these two areas on this page, it could be on any Content Manager web page where a guest or order checkout submission area is added, we can then go through and also add those tag manager IDs and event names there as well if we want to capture those events. So it means from different order submission areas that you may set up for different users or classes of users, then you can have them flow either into different Google Tag Managers or even Google Analytics accounts, so that you can get very precise about where the ordering data is coming from and being able to do those reporting. So the system is quite flexible in that regard. Once the data has been set up, back on our Content Manager website, if we add products to basket and check out, the next time we submit the order button and the user successfully sees the success message, then the order will be fired across to Google Tag Manager, and if all the configurations are correct, then that will allow that order data to flow onto the Google Analytics 4 service. Then within Google Analytics 4, under the report menu, if we expand the monetization option and go down to e-commerce purchases, then within the graphs here, we'll be able to see these numbers of those orders increasing as more orders get raised, as well as more events take place and are recorded by Google Analytics. Now note that the data that appears in Google Analytics 4 may take up to 24 to 48 hours to appear. So if an order was raised just moments ago, the statistics here may not update for 1 to 2 days. So it's worth periodically checking back. However, if you do want to see that the event did take place, you can go back into the admin section. You can then click on the events menu item, and then you can look at the purchase event name and see if the counts update there, and that will allow you to see if orders are coming through to Google Analytics. You can also test this out before you make these changes and submit it by using the preview option, where you can use the Google Tag Assistant to order to go to your website, click the connect button, and it's best probably to do this in Google Chrome, which will redirect you back to your website where you can then follow the checkout process again. Once you've submitted the order, then back within Google Analytics, you can go down to the debug view to see if an order had been placed within the timeline here and seeing what data is being passed across. So that's a good way to test and debug that the order data is correctly set up, that the tags and the IDs are correctly set, and seeing that the accounts are correctly linked. So that covers the detail about how to link Google Analytics 4 to a content managed website hosted on the Totex platform. If you need any more help or advice, you can visit the Totex website, go to the forums. Within the releases forum, you can find any more details about the 17.0 platform release, or if you've got any questions, you can ask there in the Totex forum. You can contact us, as well as visit the Totex YouTube channel, find more about the great functionality that we're releasing, as well as find out all the other changes we've made within the Totex platform's playlist. Or click on these links to learn more about other changes we've made to the platform. Have a good one.